Hey, welcome back. Well, what was all that about? Anyway, welcome back to Link to the Past. Last time I was talking about the Oracle games, mostly. Can't remember how I got onto that, but I did get onto it. And this time, I'm going to sort of continue on my conversation about the remixes of Zelda 1 bosses that I had. They didn't have the bow inside of the Oracle of Ages and Seasons, but they did have a slingshot and a new item called the Seed Shooter, which both are okay. In my youth, I preferred the slingshot just because it is a quick, straightforward, you shoot a seed of your choice, and you can eventually get the hyper slingshot, which shoots 3 seeds in a spreader fashion. Too bad you get it inside the second to last dungeon, if you're counting the last dungeon as a dungeon, because it's pretty short. But yeah, it's a shame because I would have liked to have a spread shot earlier in the game. Anyway, yeah, I liked it as a kid just because, you know, spreader for that, but for the base slingshot because it was quick and simple. And the Seed Shooter is cool on its own merits because you can hold in place while you hold up the thing and choose a direction in 8 directions, you know? Up, down, left, right, north by west, north by east, south by west, south by east, as it were. And also the seeds you shoot can bounce off walls a certain amount of times. I'm showing what happens if you pull the left lever here. You get ropes. Anywho. Yeah. Let's see, how many bosses are actually in Zelda 1? Well, Zelda 1 only had, I think, 6 boss types, just including the Patra mini-bosses in Dungeon 9. And I cut to here, where I now have 40 bombs and 40 arrows, and I cut back to there. Just showing off what I spent all my money on. And like I said, that's why we need a lot of money right now. We're getting all those upgrades. Now, how you can tell when your bomb and arrow count has been maxed is when the fairy, instead of giving you an upgrade of 5 of the items, gives you 10. For bombs, the max is 50. For arrows, the max is 70. Which is a nice count each. Let's see. One of the new bosses they added to Oracle Seasons is Mothula, which might as well be called the Poison Moth. That is a boss inside of this game here, actually. Except only you fight in an arena that's similar to the third bosses of this game that we're going to be facing shortly. Also, you can talk to the old man for some free healing. It's a pretty good idea to do so too. Especially since Death Mountain in this part has those annoying rocks. And also those strange little goblin things that run around and turn to stone when you hit them. but Mothula, it's not the same as the poison moth in this game. It doesn't even look similar, and is a lot smaller. So you can probably consider it an all-new boss, especially since, well, it's pretty much different all around. Just both of them are moths. But anywho, that's the boss that they added that wasn't in Zelda 1. They also added, let's see, Dungeon 1 is Archimentus, Dungeon 2 is Zodango, Dungeon 3 is Mothula, Dungeon 4 is Agoma, Dungeon 5 is Digdogger, Dungeon 6, I think Dungeon 6 is either... I can't remember which order these were in. It's either going to be Gleeok, which has a surprising twist, and... or it's going to be Manhandla. Yeah, the 8th boss is the other new boss they added to that game. It is Medusa Head, which can turn you to stone, which can totally blow unless you manage to get yourself petrified in the perfect location, which I used to know when I was younger because of playing those games countless times. But yeah, if you could get yourself with your sword stuck out, petrified in the right position, the Medusa Head will basically freeze you in a spot where you essentially I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, you just sit there and do damage to the Medusa Head until you thaw out. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And there's other neat things they added to the game. Well, not added. Well, I suppose you consider it added if you consider it a twist on the Zelda 1. But let's see. They also have... now we're going on to the ages here. They have a lot of new bosses added to Ages, actually. And they have... Dungeon 1, there's Pumpkinhead, which is pretty interesting. Dungeon 2 is... some thwomp, I guess you could call it. He's one of the more annoying bosses in the game. Dungeon 3 is some shadow witch, I guess. I don't know. The 4th dungeon is actually Patra. So I guess they had Patra planned, but they moved it to Ages instead of Seasons. I suppose to spread the nostalgia out. Right here I'm trying to nail the switch and get over. Because in this game, you can't walk on top of the raised blocks. Which is a shame. Oh. I guess we need a lantern one more time. The aim with it stinks. Let's see, Dungeon 5. I played Ages less than Seasons, because when I was younger I was able to get up to... I basically got stuck at the Lost Woods part of the game, because I didn't know what the heck was going on, and I got stuck at just before Dungeon 3, actually. Actually, I got stuck in Dungeon 3 for Oracle of Ages. And Ages is more puzzle-heavy, by the way. So I know Ages less, and I did eventually get the strategy guide for the two games, which was pretty cool, and a birthday present I was thrilled to get, since, you know, the internet was still... It was definitely getting better, but it still wasn't the best at those days. And also, I didn't really have easy access to the internet most of the time, because I had just moved to America. Yeah. So I got the strategy guide, and I was finally able to get past Dungeon 3, and was able to get past the woods and seasons. Well, let's see. Dungeon 5. I think was the Mermaid Cave, in which there's this big squid thingy. And Dungeon 5 is actually a pretty interesting dungeon, because it has two parts. There's one in the past and one in the present. And you have to do one before the other, I think? So, that's Dungeon 5. Oh yeah, that reminds me. That part of the game is... well, that's the third boss, by the way. But I'm ignoring him until I can get the treasure of this dungeon. In which you need to hop into that hole and get the treasure. Moon Pearl! Another item that is not really directly helpful, it's just a passive item. But it makes it to where we don't turn into a bunny man when we go into the Dark World. Which will be useful, and in fact is pretty much mandatory. Anyway. Yeah, this boss, he has severe knockback power. And if you smack his head with your sword, you will go flying, and you can easily get knocked off the edge. If you... yeah, that's one of the suckier holes to fall in. If you are good enough, I only managed to do it once. Basically, if you are knocked back not at a super severe angle, and you hold towards the platform and just keep holding it, you will slowly climb back onto the platform. Otherwise you're going to be knocked off. There's that. But I was talking about once, as in, like, I beat the boss without ever falling off once, and I just kept doing it. And victory spin! We get the Pendant of Wisdom. And fun times will be had by all. Let's see. Actually, no, I think the 5th dungeon is the one where you get the Cane of Samaria, and the 6th dungeon is the Squid Place. But still, in that part of the Game of Ages is the most annoying part ever, because they have a ton of mini-games. And trust me, I love mini-games in my games, because they're fun distractions, you know? Just take a break from the adventure, soak in some atmosphere, and have a good time. But the thing is, these mini-games are mandatory. Well, there's also a couple mandatory mini games and seasons as well, but they're not as annoying. Because what you got is 8-bit single speaker rhythm mini games, in which you're supposed to remember what buttons do what action, and you gotta do it with certain precision and timing and whatever. You can destroy grass with the magic boomerang. But yeah, that part is one of the parts that I got stuck in the Oracle of Ages. Not because I couldn't figure out what to do, but it's because I wasn't able to do it, essentially. So whenever I get there, it would basically be the buzzkill of the game, or the 2 games. Also, the Oracle Seasons and Ages, I think, are the only Zelda games where there are infinite amounts of heart pieces. So, if there's like something that you can't do, or if you can't find heart pieces, you can get them eventually. And the Book of Medora. I was trying to cataclysm sea, wins through simple adventure, the mastery trees, keep a nice line true. And we get the Master Sword. And clear up the fog of the forest. Swaddle his voice. You have done well to obtain the evil banishing blade, the Master Sword. What signs in it is now yours to wield. With that you should be able to thwart the magic of the evil wizard Dagobah. The destiny of the land is in your hands. Please, Meow. Full hearts. We can shoot lazy beams. I help the Lord scare the sanctuary. And I don't remember why I equipped the mirror. Oh yeah, I remember now. Anyways. Let's see. That's... can't really remember the boss of the 7th dungeon in that game. I know you get the long hook, which isn't the long shot, it's an upgrade of the switch hook, which you get in the Patra dungeon, dungeon 4, which basically is like the hook shot, only when you hit something with the grabber bit, you and it switch places. It's pretty interesting, actually. Not as majestic as the hookshot, though. And now that we have the Master Sword, we're going to go get something up on the mountain that will be by far the most useful magic in the game. Anywho. Yeah, I really can't remember the boss. I guess when I get to it, we'll find out. But my friend is still borrowing it, and he needs to beat it already. You know what? I think I'm going to replace the save battery on his copy of Ages, and see if that fixes his copy. Anyways. Trying to remember. Oh yeah. Dungeon 8. I remember that boss pretty well, because he was a pretty fun boss. It's like this golem thing that floats over a pit, and he has different types of hands. And yes, it is another head with 2 floating hands boss. But you don't shoot him in the hands, you gotta shoot him in the head. Use the Book of Medora on that tablet after you get the Master Sword. And you get the Ether Medallion. You have to get it in order to get to Dungeon 6 in the Dark World, I believe. But that's it for this episode. Next time, I'll just probably meet you off of Death Mountain. So see you then, and goodbye.